what extra biblical evidence is there that Jesus existed? So I don't, so this is not my specialty. I don't study that question a lot. In fact, if I was to study that question, I would probably start with, hold on, let me just say, oh, great, I got it. So I just pulled over I'm standing right next to my bookcase, but Mike Licona has this gigantic book called The Resurrection of Jesus, A New Historiographical Approach, okay? It's mega thick, and no, I haven't read it, but I do know, because I know Michael Licona, I do know that in that book, he addresses extra biblical evidence for Jesus, pertaining to facts surrounding Jesus' life. So I would turn to something like that to find extra biblical evidence. But the answer is yes, there is extra biblical evidence that Jesus existed. Now, I do speak on the subject of the resurrection of Jesus. And one of the things that I've discovered is that there are many non-biblical people and sources that affirm that Jesus was crucified and killed. And so ironically, the fact that there's extra biblical evidence that Jesus was killed is also evidence that Jesus existed, right? Because in order to die, you'd have to exist first, right? So for example, and I have some of these books, but Josephus was a first century Jewish historian who talks about Jesus and affirms that he was killed. So he's an extra biblical source. Tacitus was a Roman first century historian who also wrote about the death of Jesus. There's this guy Lucian of Samosata. I don't even know how to pronounce the guy. I always have it in print in my PowerPoint. But he was like a second century rhetorician. There's another guy, Marabar Serapion. I don't know. I can't pronounce these guys. I actually never say their names. But these guys in the Jewish Talmud, there's a whole bunch of sources that are extra biblical that attest to the death of Christ, specifically by crucifixion. So again, this is extra biblical evidence that he was killed. Therefore, it's also evidence that he existed. Because again, you'd have to exist before you can get killed.